tonight.
What we've learned so far is that the engines were operating up to the point of impact.
Investigators are still piecing together the details of a northern Saskatchewan plane crash. Plus, all in this together, the Public School Board pushes ahead with wellness and inclusivity in the new year. And
the United States will remember this day, in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly.
The U.S. administration is reviewing its aid portfolio after losing an international vote.
This is NewCap News.
Good evening, I'm Gerard Lampow. So glad you could join us. The investigation into a plane crash in Fond du Lac 1 week ago has only just begun. Now, Wednesday, the Transportation Safety Board revealed what they know so far and what they still need to examine. Global's Megan Craig has the latest.
A mangled in the weeks to come. Megan Craig, Global News.
2017 was yet another busy year for the Public School Division as they continued to promote wellness and inclusivity. Michaela Henschel sat down with the Director of Education to see what that means to the division.
All right, well, I'm joined with Todd Robinson, the Public School Division in the new year.
Thanks again for having us.
Thank you.
This is NewCap Weather.
Well, I know many folks out there are looking forward to the Parade of Lights that takes place at 7 p.m. this evening. However, it will be a cold evening. Not necessarily straight on temperature, but we have strong winds coming out of the northwest, and that will make things at least a mite uncomfortable for those of you waiting outside. Right now, we are sitting at -9 in the border city, but with those winds gusting around 30 kilometers per hour, it feels a lot more like -18. Yikes, that wind does have a bite to it, but hopefully there's a chance the wind will die down just a little bit in the next couple of hours while the temperature will get a bit colder. Again, it's right around the average for this time of year. It will get colder later this weekend, so hopefully you get to stay indoors for that. Also -9 over in the Cold Lake region and over in the Battlefords. Again, largely cloudy conditions, some flurries going on in Cold Lake. A few other temperatures across the region, -8s all over the place, particularly in Vegreville, Vermilion, and Maidstone. Further down south, it gets a little warmer at Provost and Macklin, where it's -7. As we said before, North Battleford sitting at -9. Isle La Crosse, way up in the north, still the coldest at -14. Edmonton, however, still enjoying a little bit warmer weather at -6. And then looking out into the rest of the prairies, you can see there Red Deer also sitting at -6, as is Edmonton. -8 over in Saskatoon, and -9 over in Prince Albert. So a little further east you go, the cooler it gets, and certainly that's the case up north. We'll have more weather for you later in the show.
And still to come, the U.S. administration is eyeing those who voted them down at the General Assembly. Details after the break.
When you see news happening, let us know. Grab your phone and hit record and become part of the NewCap News team. It could make you $100 richer. If you capture news happening, drop us an email at tvnews@newcap.ca.
Welcome back. The Trump administration threatened to cut off funding to nations that voted to condemn the U.S. plan to move its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. But CTV's Glenn McGregor reports the symbolic vote before the UN today didn't go the way the Americans had hoped.
The message here, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadian Blood Services is looking for more than 1,800 donors in Saskatchewan between now and January 6th. According to the organization, there's always a dip in supply this time of year as people get busy with the holiday season. Canadian Blood Services is asking you to call and make an appointment to give the gift of life this Christmas. Saskatoon has over 1,000 open appointment slots, while Regina has more than 600. Well, back at home now, a local man is spreading Christmas joy this season with a display resembling the North Pole. Now, each December, Mark Pierce turns his family room into a winter wonderland.
Well, my wife and I started doing this display about 7 years ago with some old houses and pieces of my father's.
Due to limited space, Pierce was unable to use all of his Christmas display items this year.
Actually, we had 5 pieces that didn't quite make it in the display this year. I went as big as I could, but so next year we're actually moving to, and the house has a larger family room, so I'm hoping to do a 3rd tier.
And he's not wasting any time in preparing to make the display bigger and better for next Christmas.
As early as last night, I'm already looking online for new pieces, but of course every year they come out with new ones, which are, they don't release till a certain date. So, and then like a store like Michael's has their exclusive ones which are only available at Christmas time, and you can't buy them till next year unless you get them there. Some of it every year has to get thrown away.
Well, Christmas is almost upon us, which means plenty of cheer and plenty of eating. However, there are many healthy ways to pass the time between turkey dinners 1 and 2. Josh Ryan explores a few options in this week's Healthy Living.
Ahead of this, Josh Ryan, New Cap News.
I believe a few of us will be taking that casual stroll. Still to come, outpouring of grief. Thousands paid tribute to a Toronto couple being remembered for their generosity and community spirit. More after the break. Welcome back. To Australia now, 19 people are injured and 2 men are under arrest after a car plowed into pedestrians on a crowded street in Melbourne. Police say the driver of an SUV hit a large group of pedestrians just before 5 p.m. local time. An off-duty officer happened to be nearby and arrested the 32-year-old man behind the wheel following a violent struggle. A second man, aged 24, was spotted filming the incident and arrested by police after he was found to be carrying a bag containing knives. Police described the act as deliberate, but say as yet there is no connection to terrorism. Family, friends and politicians were among thousands who gathered near Toronto on Thursday to pay tribute to philanthropists Barry and Honey Sherman. The founder of generic drug maker Apotex and his wife were found dead in their home last week under circumstances police have called suspicious. With more, here's CTV's Heather Wright.
With a cloud of
staying strong and, of course, continuing your legacy of giving.
Heather Wright, CTV News.
Returning to Alberta, a landowner south of Edmonton says a pipeline company is not respecting his property. He says he's fine with the line, but the company operating it has been a giant headache. Global's provincial affairs reporter Tom Vernon explains.
They were, at least
following through on what it has agreed to do.
Eventually, somebody has to bring them to justice.
Tom Vernon, Global News.
This is New Cap Sports.
In sports, the Oilers' decor is about to receive a shot in the arm. Andre Sekera is expected to come off the injured reserve and make his season debut tonight against St. Louis. The 31-year-old was statistically one of the best Oiler defensemen last season, but it's also his intangibles which make him such a valued member of the team. Global's Jack Haskins reports.
And Sekera is down, and another Edmonton defenseman is hurt.
Haskins, Global Sports.
Well, let's hope Reggie can tickle the twine for the Oilers later. That's our first look at sports. Josh has your weather up next.
This is New Cap weather.
Well, we said it was going to get a little bit colder. Now we're starting to see a little bit of snow come down as well. Yes, if you're getting ready to stop outside and enjoy the parade of lights, there are a few weather hazards to take notice of, this evening. Though it'll certainly be an absolutely beautiful display and a fun evening, just make sure you're dressed nice and warm. Let's look at tomorrow's temperatures first of all. sitting at -7 right now as an expected high for tomorrow in Lloydminster. So that's not bad considering what we were expecting a few days ago. -7 expected also in Marwayne and -9 over in Vermilion rather. So largely underneath double-digit minus temperatures, except up, of course, in Isle of Cross and as well down south in Macklin at -9. St. Walburg, another one, a little bit warmer at -7. So a few decent highs for tomorrow afternoon, considering there's going to be a lot of travel certainly heading into this Christmas weekend. Here's your national weather board. As you can see here, Yellowknife cooling down a little bit more to -20, and we're seeing some snowfall throughout the country right now. Yellowknife also -20 over in Whitehorse as well. Edmonton, though, sticking at -7. It stayed relatively warm throughout the Edmonton region, and Vancouver also sitting down at -2, has been relatively warm, but they're being rained on as always. -18 over here in Winnipeg, and then a little bit warmer in some areas out east, -3 in Toronto, -2 over in St. John's, but Quebec City still sitting at -15. Over in the Battlefords is at -9. Also, like us, they're getting a little bit of light snow, wind coming out of the northwest. That wind is going to pick up overnight. Could get 30+ kilometers or more in the region, and a low of -14. They are expected to drop back down, or warm up rather, back to -8, and things should start to clear up in the afternoon. So something good to look forward to, especially if you're traveling through the Battlefords to Saskatoon for the weekend. Wind will also calm down to around 15 to 22 kilometers in the region. -8 over in the Lakeland area, and again, light snow showers there, wind coming out of the northwest. -11 the overnight low, with wind again coming out of the northwest largely. -6 expected right now to be the high for the day, and fairly cloudy day, expecting a flurry of snow in the evening, so watch out if you have to travel. Over in the Midwest region, -9, again with light snow and north-northwest winds. That will probably pick up a little bit overnight, but it shouldn't get into that 30-kilometer range that the Battlefords are going to experience. -12 expected to be the overnight low, with a slight clearing in the sky. And then -7 tomorrow, but a very cloudy day expected, and a 25% chance of precipitation to boot as well, with some stronger gusts of wind. Then -8 expected on Saturday, with a low of -20, and Christmas Eve, things will start to get very cool indeed at -18, -28 expected to be the overnight low. Then -23 on Christmas Day, -28 the low there, -21 on Boxing Day, -23 on Wednesday, and then things warm up a little bit on Thursday at -19. Again, largely northwest winds. That will shift a little bit on Monday to the southwest, and then again on Wednesday to the southeast. Again, about 25% chance of precipitation throughout these next 7 days as things start to cool down. And that has been your 7-day forecast.
Thanks for that, Josh. Let's turn to agriculture. One day you're up, another year down. That's typical of the market cycle. In this week's agricultural report, we get some insight into the state of the pulse markets.
It's kind of gloom.
Shop at your local Lloyd Co-op Agri Center with branch locations in Lashburn and Neilburg.
And that's all for agriculture. Still to come, ramping up. More fingers are pointing at a Calgary man accused of sexual abuse. Do stay with us.
The nationally recognized Canadian Collision Industry Accreditation Program demonstrates that CCAB has the expertise, skills, and equipment to properly and safely repair most recent year vehicles.
A Calgary music teacher is facing a total of 49 sex charges in relation to accusations by 22 alleged underage victims of sexual abuse. 27-year-old Christian Sorrell was originally charged May 3rd, but since then, 19 other accusers have come forward. Police say Sorrell would use social media pretending to be a teenager to meet girls. Now, at least 4 people are dead after a ferry sank during a storm in the Philippines. More than 160 people have been rescued from rough waters, and strong winds and high waves started hitting the boat about 2 hours into its journey between the town of Infanta and Polillo, and there were 258 people on board. Officials do not believe the ferry was overcrowded. While a price-fixing scandal is sweeping the nation, it seems grocery store giant Loblaw and Western bakeries enjoyed having their bread buttered on both sides for over a decade. The companies have admitted to participating in an industry-wide bread price-fixing arrangement. Global's Eric Sorensen slices into the controversy and why Loblaw is admitting to it now.
It is a staple of life.
The gift card is a gesture, perhaps in hope more than in prayer, that over our daily bread, customers will forgive them their trespasses.
And coming up in sports, the King meets the Lance. The boys from The Gloves Are Off are at it again. Do stay with us.
This is New Cap Sports.
Well, in a pair of weekend games on the NFL, fans were treated to what many are calling botched calls. A piece of paper was used to rule on a 4th down, and a catch that was clearly a touchdown was called back. Lance Phillips and Chris King from The Gloves Are Off are here to discuss the latter and chirp each other before a major sporting event that takes place on tonight's show.
Thank you very much. But you gotta flick those little
There can't
things.
be that much like art to it.
No, there is. There is a lot of skill involved. You gotta navigate the pegs. You gotta navigate. I'm gonna crush you. That's all there is to it. Check it out tonight on The Gloves Are Off. Crokinole coming up.
That's right, an intense battle unfolding later on this evening with the boys from The Gloves Are Off. That's all the time for sports. More New Cap news and weather after the break.
WS Poxon has the perfect solutions to protect your eyes against harmful effects from both electronics and UV rays. Transitions and Xperio Crizal lenses allow you to enjoy all of your activities to the fullest.
Well, Josh, it's back to have a look at weather one more time. It looks like a really chilly one for the Parade of Lights out there this evening.
Unfortunately, it is right now. The wind kilometer speeds have gotten up to around 20 kilometers, could get into the 30 range later this evening. And there's a little bit of snow coming down as well. So a few hazards if you're out there enjoying the lights, but it is going to be a very pretty display. So maybe it's worth braving that temperature. -9 currently in the border city with winds out of the northwest, again sitting at about 19 kilometers per hour, but that will pick up a little bit as the evening goes on and isn't going to calm down anytime soon. So definitely you get a bit of a stronger wind chill there as a result. -8 over in the Cold Lake region and -9 over in the Battlefords. They're also experiencing around 20 kilometers per hour, largely out of the northwest for their winds, and also a little bit of light snow as well. A few temperatures around the northern part of these two provinces, -7 in Grand Prairie and Slave Lake, Fort Mac sitting at -8, high level at -6, a little bit cooler on the Sask side with La Ronge at -15 or 14 rather, and Stony Rapids, at -14. La Loche a little bit warmer at -11. Overnight, -11 is the temperature for Cold Lake and area, -12 here in the border city, -14 over in the Battlefords, Again, winds starting to pick up in a couple of these regions. Then tomorrow afternoon, -6 expected in Cold Lake, -7 here in Lloydminster, and -8 over in the Battlefords. Again, as you can see there, Lloydminster could get anywhere from 20 to 32 kilometers wind speeds, so definitely going to bump that wind chill quite a bit, or into that -20, -25 range. So definitely dress quite warmly tomorrow, because it's not going to be that nice out. -8 on Saturday, -18, -23, and Tuesday, Boxing Day, -21 to finish out the holidays.
Well, he's beloved by children all around the world, but recently Santa Claus has been the subject of a heated debate. The controversial question, where's Santa Claus from? Some federal officials say he's Canadian, but in an exclusive interview, St. Nick says that's not the case. Global's Mike Lecouture has the story.
All they care about is that he's coming Christmas night. Mike Lecouture, Global News, Ottawa.
And a man sworn to uphold the law is also upholding some holiday cheer. That story's next after this break. Well, he may not look the part, but Officer Jeremy Turner has the voice of an angel.
Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared.
Turner's rendition of A Holy Night drew a crowd in Portland, Maine, as well as thousands of likes after this video was posted to Facebook this week. Josh, what do you think about that?
He's got some pipes on him.
It seems that way too. He's upholding holiday cheer.
Yeah, and it's nice to see, allow law enforcement and such to show that side of themselves. We don't always see that.
Yeah, as long as he can sing, it seems to be the case here.
Yeah. I mean, that's convinced me.
Yeah.
Definitely convinced me.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he's got the conditions on there, but I don't think it's as cold as out in the border city this evening.
Oh,
I know
definitely not.
Quite a few folks are heading out for Parade of Lights.
Yeah, I know some of them are probably milling about as we speak, but yeah, it should be a fun night. A cold but fun.
Yeah, so make sure you're well dressed for this. That's a look at our world this evening. From all of us in New Cap, have a good night.